Hi guys, welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the Premier League today. We've also got a number of other topics to talk about. We're going to talk about Everton players and their individual training plans, obviously whilst they spend a lot of their time at home due to the outbreak of the virus. We're also going to be talking about how it is important at this time for everybody to sort of stay calm and try and remain as positive as possible, because obviously it's understandable that there's a lot of worry going around, there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of stress going around, but it's really, really important that we're there for each other, but we're also remaining positive in ourselves and in our own mood to make sure that we can get through this as best as possible. But firstly and mainly, I want to talk about the Premier League season because, again, it's been a topic of conversation now for over a week, ever since the virus outbreak in the UK, ever since it became apparent that Premier League football was going to have to stop or be postponed, at least for a period of time. The conversation was always whether or not the Premier League should just be null, voided, and we should just start again at a future point when obviously the whole situation regarding COVID-19 has calmed down a little bit, and mass gatherings and football matches etc. can begin to take place once again. There's always been that question of if the Premier League is null and void, is there a champion? Obviously, with Liverpool being so far ahead this season and being, let's be perfectly honest, clear winners and only a couple of points away from winning the title mathematically, whether it would be fair to allow the league to null and void without giving them the championship, but also then on the flip side, whether it be fair to give them the championship when they haven't mathematically yet won it. So if there is a slight, even though it is a real slight possibility that Manchester City could win all of their remaining games, Liverpool could lose theirs, and Man City could ultimately go on and win the title. Like I said, it's been in discussion for a couple of weeks now. Obviously, everybody's having it on social media. It doesn't just affect Liverpool. I've spoken about this in the last couple of live streams. It doesn't just affect Liverpool Football Club. This also affects the likes of Leeds, West Bromwich Albion in the Championship. If the Premier League season is to be declared null and void, then obviously that will affect the teams that could have potentially came up to the Premier League for next season, could have potentially been promoted. So you like see your Leeds, you like see your West Broms, who were looking like they're the teams that were going to be promoted, or at least two of the teams that were going to be promoted into the Premier League. That'll have a massive knock-on effect on them, and it'll also have a knock-on effect on the leagues below, etc. For similar reasons, as well as relegation as well. If the season, let's just say another option, if the season was stopped now and they was to say that whoever's in position, wherever the positions are now, they're frozen and that's how the season would end, then obviously that would massively affect the likes of Aston Villa, Bournemouth, who are currently in the relegation zone, who not only are in the relegation zone, it's very different from the top of the league, and I think people are starting to forget and starting to just pass this aside, is that okay, at the top of the league Liverpool might be 20 odd points ahead or whatever they are, and they might be only a couple of games away from mathematically sealing the title, and you might be able to say, well, hang on, it's a little bit unfair on Liverpool because they're so far ahead and it's very unlikely that Manchester City are going to come back. Okay, you might have an argument there, but that's definitely not the argument for the bottom of the table. Bournemouth, Villa, both teams are only 2, 3, 4 points within jumping right out of that relegation zone, and Bournemouth especially are only a couple of wins away from being bang mid-table, so it would be massively unfair to stop the season now and say to those teams, right, you're going to have to play next season in the Championship, especially considering there's 9 games to go and there's a lot of points to be had, and those teams could end up finishing, a mid-table finish if they're to have a good run at the end of the season. There has been some news on it today. UEFA have released a statement, or UEFA have basically come out, and it's not an official statement, it's more of like a clarification to everybody, and said that basically if the leagues are to be declared null and void, there would be no champion, so Liverpool wouldn't be given the Premier League title, there'd be no champion in the Championship, League One, etc. It'd just be as it is, declared null and void. No teams would be relegated, no teams would be promoted, etc. And I believe they've also said that the Premier League have until June the 30th to complete the remainder of their fixtures, otherwise that's going to be the way that it goes. But the discussion I wanted to have today is whether it should just be null and voided now, and it should just be knocked on the head now and obviously put to the side, because there is a lot more important things to be talking about and a lot more important issues to be worrying about than whether or not the Premier League season is going to go ahead. So obviously, when we first had the announcement last week, the Premier League were hopeful, I think is a fair way to say, that they'd be back to playing football in the first week of March. We're now on the 18th, in the first week of April, sorry. We're now on the 18th of March, and Boris Johnson has just announced today that UK schools will be shutting on Friday. It's also looking more and more likely that the country might go into lockdown, and that everybody will be sort of locked behind their house, a little bit like they are in Italy, and various other countries as well. So really, even though it wasn't likely anyway when they first announced it, it's looking more and more unlikely now that the Premier League season will A, kickstart again, at all, and B, kickstart again in April. I think that's definitely not going to happen. So with UEFA giving a date as to the 30th of June and saying that all remaining fixtures must be played by that point, obviously 9 remaining fixtures, otherwise basically the season has to be nulled, because then it's going to go into sort of the later stages, August, September, October, and you can't be playing a Premier League season then, because once that season ends, when does the new season start? Does the new season start in December, and then we sort of just play half a season, or does the seasons then change from December to halfway through the October or something like that? I don't know. But basically, for me, just to give my opinion on it, I personally think that they should just knock it on the head. And it's not because Liverpool are top and it'll take Liverpool, it'll take the Premier League away from Liverpool. And I know that there'll probably be Liverpool fans in here, having a go and saying you're just bitter and you just don't want to see us lift the title. It's nothing to do with that at all. I couldn't care less about Liverpool lifting a Premier League title or not lifting a Premier League title. My main concern is that the Premier League at the moment and other authorities at the moment are going to be focusing on trying to play the rest of the remainder of the Premier League matches and trying to get them over and done with in order to finish the season whilst everything's going on. I've already seen rumours today, I've already seen things in the news today as to state that they may be playing, they may be back to playing Premier League games behind closed doors. And whilst, obviously we've spent all weekend and a lot of us have spent, the week without football, and I know it's shit, and I know we're all sitting here tearing our hair out because we've got no Everton to watch, we've got no football to watch, but I think realistically we need to just knock football on the head for the moment and start focusing on how to nullify this virus, how to isolate it, and how to ultimately beat it before we start talking about sport, playing again, and football, boxing, golf, etc. So for me personally, I think they should just null it, knock it on the head now. It is what it is. It's unfortunate for those teams, but it is what it is, and then start the next Premier League season whenever it's deemed safe to do so. Because for me personally, even looking at June, July, I still don't think we'll be in a situation as a country where we'll be able to hold mass gatherings, we'll be able to hold Premier League games at that point, because I think that this situation is only going to grow and it's only going to get worse and worse, as we've seen since the initial announcement was made that Premier League fixtures were going to be postponed until April. It's only gotten worse since that point. So again, that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Of course, please do leave a like on the team as well. One thing I did want to say is that obviously at the moment I understand that there's a lot of people stuck behind your door and you're searching for a lot of content. Like I've said, I did buy the Elgato on Monday afternoon, so I'm going to try and get that set up and everything hopefully before Friday, so I can start a little FIFA series or a little mini series, or we can do some things on FIFA, etc., just to spice it up a little bit, because I understand that there's not much going on in the world of Everton, there's not much going on in the world of football to talk about, and I don't just want to come on here 3 times a week and scrape at the battle and scrape at certain topics and try and make a big 40-minute long live stream about, Richarlison cutting his hair to look like Ronaldo in 2002 or 2000, whenever it was. I don't want to do that. I want to have fresh content. I want to have content that people can sit down and enjoy and watch. So we're going to get that set up ASAP, definitely before Friday. So hopefully we can bring the first FIFA video on Friday. I'm going to be talking to a lot of the other fan channels as well and try and get as much content sort of done in this period as we can, because I understand that it's very, very boring, and it's very, very, dull, isn't it, for a lot of people that, simply cannot leave the house, and it's looking increasingly more likely, in the coming weeks that might be all of us. One thing I did want to say, again, just before we move on to talking about the individual players and the football club and how well the football club have done in sort of lifting the spirits and lifting the message of positivity to its fans and to its followers all over social media. I just want to talk about people in general and the general public. Obviously, it's going a little bit off topic, and these live streams now, the live streams on Monday, Wednesday, if it's not a FIFA video, the live streams are basically, they're going to be talking about Everton, they're going to be giving Everton news, giving Everton updates, but if there's not much updates, then it is just going to be talking generally about things like the virus, about things like, the government, what they're doing, closing the schools, etc. And I just want to give a little bit of a positive message, because I think it's really, really important that at this moment in time, we all remain as positive as possible. It's very, very easy in normal everyday life anyway, without a massive pandemic, without people being locked behind their doors for 14 days, without countries going into complete lockdown, complete complete isolation. It's very, very easy in the normal everyday life for negative thoughts to pop up in your mind and to view certain situations negatively. And you know, negativity is much, much easier to come across, and it's much, much easier to feel negative about something than it is to feel positive. I don't care what anybody says, negativity comes a lot easier than positivity does. And this is a time at the moment where I think a lot of the general public are feeling negative and are feeling down, and you know, there's good reason for it as well. A lot of people will be stopped from seeing their family members, a lot of people will be stopped from going to school, and I know that's been announced today, and school and colleges and universities are being closed, and I know there's going to be a load of, you know, teenagers at the moment that are sitting there thinking, get in, I've got how to do my GCSEs, I don't have to go to school, etc. But in 2 or 3 weeks time, when they come to realise, actually, I'm sitting at home every day, I'm doing nothing, I can't go out and see my mates. It's not like the summer holiday where, okay, you mightn't be in school, but you can still go out and see your mates, you can still go to town, you can still go to bats or go round the park or whatever the kids do these days. You're simply stuck behind your door. So I think, you know, that it's a time when a lot of people are going to be negative and a lot of people are going to feel that negativity. So I just want to say, if you know, whatever you do in your life that gives you positivity, whatever you can do to make you happy, to put a smile on your face, to give you positivity, please do it. For me personally, this mightn't work with everybody, but I just thought I'd give my personal experience. I like to put my headphones in, listen to some good, upbeat, positive music. Calvin Harris's Funk Wave Bouncers, a little bit of free promo for Calvin Harris there. His album, I think it come out in 2016 or 2017. It's a summer album. It's proper funky, it's proper upbeat, and it's proper positive, and it just makes me smile every time I listen to it. I was listening to Queen before, and I was blasting out Queen, and again, music is my source of positivity. Obviously, talking to family, you know, watching comedy shows, watching movies, whatever you find makes you positive and makes you smile and makes you happy. We need to be feeding a lot of that into ourselves at this moment in time, because it's a time when a lot of people are going to be reading the news, a lot of people are going to be watching the news, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the news will only give you one outlook and one outlook only, and that is a negative outlook, because the news, the media, they're designed to make money, and if they can make you click on an article that says the army are going to be coming into the country on Friday and there's going to be loads of tanks, you're going to click it because you're going to want to see what it's about. So for me, it really is important that we all remain positive, we all try and stay positive, we do things that are keeping us positive, keeping our minds healthy as well. You know, obviously the situation regarding the supermarkets and the shops isn't great at the moment. It's not like you can go out and choose what you're having to eat. You sort of, at the moment, we're all having to have what's left on the shelves, isn't it, really, because there's very little left on the shelves. But, you know, trying to eat healthy, good food, and obviously exercise, but maybe limited in the next couple of weeks if you know, we're locked down like Italy are and we can't leave the house. So just doing as many things as possible that keep your mind occupied and that keep you healthy and that keep you positive as well. Films will always be there. There'll always be those funny films that you've watched through your childhood that have give you those positive vibes. There'll always be the Goonies that makes me smile every time I watch it. There'll always be Calvin Harris's album that won't just disappear randomly. So that's what I'd say personally. Anything that can keep you positive, anything that can keep you smiling, because it's really important that we come together as a society. And one thing I've noticed over the last 2 or 3 weeks since the outbreak, and since, you know, it become quite apparent that this is really serious, and that it's a virus that is, you know, is killing people. Let's be have it right. You know, there's been a lot of people saying, oh, it's just the flu and you'll get over it. Yeah, some people might get over it, some people mightn't suffer as bad as others, but there's going to be people that'll suffer immensely due to this. You know, since then there has been a lot of negativity, and there's been a lot of sort of scaremongering by the media, and there's been a lot of scare tactics as well. So I think it's important that we all try and stay as positive as possible, and we all, you know, try and be as upbeat, and we work together as a society. Like I said, people seem to all of a sudden at the moment be working against each other, like we're seeing with the panic buying and with the shopping and people fighting over toilet roll and all this nonsense. So it's important that we come together and we stick together, and we use this power that social media, this power that we're being given. We haven't had, you know, a pandemic like this. We haven't had a situation like this where, you know, it's the world against this virus. We haven't had this since social media's been introduced. You know, in the war, there was no social media. Throughout the other pandemics, the other, you know, massive outbreaks of viruses, there was no social media. So it's really important that we use this platform positively. Now, for far too long, we've seen social media being used negatively, for people to get at each other, for people to hide behind the screen and think it's acceptable to insult someone or abuse someone. No, enough of that now. Let's use it to spark positivity. Let's use it so somebody can be feeling a little bit shit shit, they've been stuck in their house for 5 days, they go onto Twitter, they read a couple of messages and they think, you know what, that's made me smile, lad, or they listen to a song and they think, you know what, that's made me smile. Let's use this social media, let's use this platform, YouTube, like I'm going to be using. Every one of my videos is going to be as upbeat as possible, as happy as possible, even if the topics we're talking about, you know, are, if it's serious and we need to be serious and it's not anything to be positive about, then obviously it's tough to be positive. But when I'm doing the FIFA series, it's going to try and be as upbeat and as positive as possible, because I think it's really, really important that we are, you know, at this time, and that we do stick together as a society. Because if we don't stick together and we adopt this every man for themselves and you fight against each other mentality, then it's simply not going to work, and it's going to take us a hell of a lot longer to get over this than if we work together and we stick together as well. So on that topic, just before we move on from that topic, I do just want to bring up a certain video, something that I've seen on social media. By the way, if you're enjoying the stream so far, I understand there's probably a lot of people that are doing other things. If you can share the stream, if you can give it a like, it'd mean a massive amount to me. You know, if you're new to the channel as well, please do subscribe. The content will be flowing, you know, throughout the entirety of the break. It's still going to be 3 live streams / videos a week, so you don't have to worry about that one. So if you're enjoying, please do hit that like button. Please do share on social media, share on Facebook, Twitter, etc. You know, there is a lot of people now worried after obviously the announcement about the schools being closed as to whether or not this means results are going to be, you know, will you get your predicted grades, will you not get your predicted grades, will you have to reset your GCSEs at some other point. Leave that down to the school governors as well, I'd say. Leave that down to the government. You just protect yourself. Make sure that you're staying safe and make sure that, you know, your family's safe as well. But just on that topic, the reason I've brought that up, the reason I brought positivity up is because I've seen a certain video today that's been circulating around social media, circulating around Twitter of some guy who's driving down the motorway, seems to be in the middle of the night, and he's filming what looks like a convoy of tanks being moved along the motorway. Now, the first thing that's wrong with this video is the guy is driving and filming at the same time, which is a criminal offence for a start, and I'm not too sure why he's doing it. And secondly is that this video is being put out as sort of a tactic to, again, scaremonger people, to make people think that there's going to be tanks on every sort of corner of the street, to make people think that every city's going to be locked down with tanks. There are rumours that by Friday, you know, the country may go into a similar lockdown situation as Italy have gone into, and they may bring in the army to help the police. But one thing I would say is that there's not going to be tanks on every corner, and if you leave your house to go shopping or whatever, you're probably going to get a telling off by the authorities. You're not going to get blown to shit by a fucking tank. So this video, you'll probably see it on social media if you haven't already. You know, what I would assume is that it's army tanks being transferred from one army base to another, and that's simply it, because the way it's being sort of portrayed is that, well, okay, there's been a rumour that the army might be coming in to help the police if there is a lockdown, so that means there's going to be tanks on every corner. No, it doesn't whatsoever. They're not going to be sitting in tanks. You know, it's almost like people sort of think that soldiers just spawn randomly out of tanks. You just stick a tank down and then 10 soldiers just come out of it, and that's how, you know, we bring soldiers into it. That's not the case at all. I highly doubt that there's going to be tanks patrolling the streets or sitting on street corners. They're not going to blow you to shit if you leave your house, or if you threaten to leave your house. You're probably just going to get a stern warning by the police, maybe a fine, maybe arrested, whatever, but you're definitely not going to be blown to shit by a tanks or by the army. So I just wanted to say that again. It's another video that's wound me up a little bit because I've seen it on social media, and I know there'll be a lot of people that are worried by it. I know there'll be a lot of people that are scared by it and that are thinking, shit, you know, is this, are we going to have tanks on street corners? Are we going to be threatened to be blown to shit? That ain't the case. But anyway, on a little bit more of a positive note, talking about Everton Football Club. Of course, we are an Everton fan channel. It's important that we talk about Everton Football Club. Everton's admin, Everton's social media, the players, the staff have done, for me, a fantastic job at the moment of again pushing that message of positivity, making sure that everybody's okay, making sure that everybody's remaining calm and safe in the current situation, in the current climate. Obviously, we know from last week, as soon as it was announced that, well, A, Premier League fixtures were going to be postponed, and B, that Everton in the community were going to be postponing all of their events. Everton in the community and various news outlets were reporting that Everton were the first club to phone up the elderly members of the community, elderly members of the society, and making sure that they're okay, elderly season ticket holders, and making sure that everything's okay, and if they need anything to let them know, which obviously is massively fantastic, and that's really, really nice to see our football club, which I say time and time again, I've said it multiple times on this channel, we mightn't be top of the Premier League, we mightn't have the best players, we mightn't have, you know, the most experience, we mightn't have won many trophies over the last however many years, but we are the best football club in the world. We truly are the greatest football club in the world, because you won't see any other football club that, as soon as football's a business at the end of the day, and a lot of these football clubs in the Premier League, I'm not going to sit here and name names because it's unfair, but a lot of these football clubs in the Premier League and around the world, as soon as it was declared that their seasons were going to be postponed, as soon as it was declared that, you know, fans weren't going to be able to go to the club shop or go to the stadium to watch it, their first thought would have been, shit, what about the business? How are we going to continue to make money? Because we're going to obviously lose money based on the fact that we aren't bringing people into the stadium and we aren't bringing people into the shops. Whereas Everton Football Club's first thought was, right, let's call around the elderly members of the community, let's call around elderly season ticket holders, make sure they're okay, make sure they're safe, see if they need anything. If they do need anything, let's go and give it to them. Let's donate the food that would have been used on Monday's Merseyside derby to food banks. Granted, Aston Villa also done the same as well, so credit to them. But again, it really, really does highlight to me why we are the greatest football club in the world, and why we cannot be rivaled in terms of that. We simply cannot be rivaled in terms of that. And again, other football clubs may have done similar things and may have done the same, but for me personally, I've only read about Everton doing that. I've read about Aston Villa obviously donating the food, but I've only read about Everton calling up elderly members of the community and season ticket holders and making sure that they're okay. So again, that was massively important, and that was something really, really positive that we seen after the Premier League was obviously postponed. Since then, we've had various messages from players, various messages from coaching staff. We've had a message from Luca Dean today to just, you know, let everybody know that you know, to stay safe, and if you can be at home, and if you need to go out for work, etc. I know I've been out every day, you know, this week, bar on Monday because I was off through a holiday, nothing to do with coronavirus. I've been into work. You know, he was saying that if you can stay at home, if you can avoid the travel, if you can work from home, do it. If not, you know, do as minimal trips as possible. Duncan Ferguson sent out a message today saying that he'd been keeping up, he'd been keeping fit, he's been keeping training and keeping positive throughout the situation as well. And I think fitness is massive, and we'll go on to talking about how Everton announced earlier today that the players have all been given individual fitness plans and individual training plans to make sure that they keep up their fitness you know, in this period of time. And for me, that's not only because of the fact that they're professional athletes and that the Premier League could restart again at some point in the near future, and that they'll need to be fit and they'll need to be ready to start again. But fitness for me is a massive, 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 massive benefit and massively helps your mental health state. And mental health is a massive, massive thing that is going to be affected during this pandemic and during this situation. And I'm not going to go on and talk massively about mental health, but one thing's for sure is that people's mental health is going to be massively, massively affected by the coronavirus and by this global pandemic, because at the end of the day, you know, we talk constantly every week about the media scaremongering situations and the media creating, you know, different types of stories and different types of situations because they're wanting you to click onto them, because that ultimately makes them money. People's mental health is going to and has massively, massively suffered from the coronavirus outbreak. People are becoming scared, people are becoming worried. Personally, for me, today was the first time coming home from work on the bus, before reading that, you know, we may go into full lockdown on Friday, reading that the schools were going to be closed. Personally, for me, that was the first time since, you know, the outbreak that I've been worried, that I've been a little bit scared, that I've been feeling like, Jesus Christ, I'm not going to be able to see my nephews, I'm not going to be able to see my niece, I'm not going to be able to see my girlfriend, I'm not going to be able to see my grandparents for however long. You know, that's scary, that's worrying. So people's mental health is going to have a massively be affected by this pandemic. Like I said, people are going to be scared, people are going to be anxious. Two of the things I've said it, you know, ever since the pandemic, ever since the coronavirus symptoms were released, you know, two of the main symptoms of coronavirus are you know, sore heads and tightness in breathing. Two main symptoms of anxiety are tightness in breathing. And for me personally, I get you know, a massive sore head as well if I'm ever in an anxious state. So people are going to be getting anxious because of the thought of having the virus or the thought of contracting the virus, and through that, the anxiety and the symptoms that they're going to contract through that anxiety, they're going to believe that they've got the symptoms. So mental health is something that's going to be massively affected by it. And one thing that I've found, and genuinely a lot of people find helps with their mental health and you know, in you know, not improving ultimately, because, you know, people still struggle, but definitely, you know, being a distraction to your mental health is exercising, getting out there and exercising and doing as much. So for the Everton players to have individual training regimes, I honestly believe it's not only in order to keep fit and to remain fit in case the Premier League season does start again, or for that day that it does be, you know, start, and they're allowed to go back into Finch form and they're allowed to train, but I also think it's massively to do with to keep their mental state going as well. Because if you think about it, if you're locked behind you know, a door for 14 days, 21 days, 31 days, however long it may be, and you're just sitting there doing the same thing. Although it might seem appealing to some people to sit there and watch Netflix, you know, constantly and be able to watch loads of series or play the PlayStation, after a period of 4, 5, 6 days, that's going to get incredibly boring, and people are going to be starting to feel depressed and down and affected by it. So getting out, exercising. Obviously, you know, if we go into total lockdown, we can't go and run around the park, we can't go to the gym, but, you know, even doing as much as doing a few sit-ups in the afternoon, doing a few sit-ups in the day, you know, walking around the house a couple of times, up and down your steps, trying to get as little exercise in or as much exercise in as you possibly can in that situation. Like Duncan Ferguson said, he'd been out for a run, he'd been getting exercise in. Again, I firmly believe that's not only to benefit your physical state and to make sure that you're staying in physical, you know, your fitness is staying physically, but also to benefit your mental state as well, and to make sure that you know, your brain is being fed, because not only is your body fed when you exercise, but your brain is fed as well, and that's ultimately really, really important. So, like I said, Duncan Ferguson had a message today for all Evertonians. It was put on Twitter. Luca Dean had one as well. Obviously, over the last sort of couple of days or so, we've seen Theo Walcott doing the washing hands challenge while he's keeping up a little toy. We've seen Richarlison doing the washing hands challenge while singing a song, which obviously is very, very heartwarming. We've seen Moise Keane in his garden doing keepy ups and doing a few dances. We've seen Richarlison cut his hair like Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo from 2000, which was a bit manic, but ultimately made everybody laugh, made everybody smile. You know, we've seen him skipping past the Invisible Man and blasting one into the top bin in his garden, and all of these little videos and all of these little clips that are being fed to us from the club at the moment to go alongside the message from Carlo Ancelotti, the message from Duncan Ferguson, is to say that, you know, all of the players are still remaining to keep fit, they're still having training regimes, they've got things to do while they're at home, they're not just sitting at home, sitting in front of a screen. I think that, again, all feeds that message of positivity and makes us all, definitely us as fans, and certainly me, think, you know what, I can be happy knowing that, the players are remaining fit, for that if they do come back, they're going to be coming back in shape, and not just, well, we've had, you know, not coming back and then getting swatted by Liverpool 7-0 and going, well, we had 6 weeks where we were just sitting on the couch doing nothing. I'm happy knowing that they've been doing things, they've been getting fit, they've been out, they've been retaining that fitness, but I'm also happy that their mental health is being fed because of the exercise, as well as the fact, obviously, that they're engaging in these positive messages. Richarlison's having a bit of fun with himself, he's cut his hair, you know, to be like Ronaldo. We all know that his hair is going to grow back, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's something that a lot of Evertonians see, and a lot of Evertonians will have smiled at, laughed at, as well as he has, I'm sure. Obviously, Moise Keane doing the dances and stuff in his garden and playing football. Theo Walcott doing the washing hands challenge, which is also massively, massively important now that these footballers and these influencers are making sure that they're passing on the message to the younger audiences, how important it is to wash your hands with soap and water, and how important it is to remain hygienic, you know, throughout this period, so that you minimise the chances of contracting this virus. And ultimately, like I said, it's really, really positive to see that, you know, coming from the club, it's not doom and gloom, it's not negativity, it's not one tweet a day, you know, it is players coming out saying, you know, stay safe, remain safe, but we're all in good spirits and we all know we can fight it and we all know we can win. It's players like Richarlison cutting his hair and putting it all over social media to make people smile. Duncan Ferguson saying, I've been for a run and I feel energised, etc. You know, it's all putting out a positive message, and I think Everton have done fantastically well over this period of time since, you know, it was announced that we wouldn't be playing the Merseyside derby and that the Premier League would be, you know, would be postponed. Since that announcement, I think the football club have done fantastically to pass that message of positivity on, and to try and engage the fans and to try and pass on to the fans that, you know, you can continue to do things as well, even if you know, you're at home and you can't leave the house, you can continue to exercise, you can do little bits and bobs to give us that sense of relievement that the players are still doing things, that the players are still remaining fit, that the players are still getting out there, and that they've got individual training regimes as well, even though they can't train at Finch Farm, they'll be training at home. Players coming together in Instagram videos and commenting on each other's Instagram, saying how much they miss each other and how much they can't wait to see each other. It's that happiness, it's that team morality, it's that feeling of that if you're feeling shit, if you're feeling down and you log on to Instagram. I know this works for me personally, it mightn't work for other people, but it works for me personally. You log on to Instagram and you know, you see Dominic Calvert-Lewin commenting on Moise Keane's picture or commenting on Richarlison's picture saying, can't wait to see you again. It just brings a smile to your face, and I think, you know, as many smiles as we can get on faces during this period of time, you know, we need to be doing. And like I said, ultimately, in terms of the football, in terms of getting back to fitness and getting back to play, saying, those individual training plans are really, really important for us fans, is to know that the players are still there, the players are still doing things, the players are still working hard at home, but also, like I said, in the underlying things of that, it also is really, really nice to see that those things are affecting their mental health positively as well, because we know full well that if the full first team squad was locked behind doors for 24 hours a day, we only being able to watch television or sit on Instagram all day, they wouldn't be coming back to playing football in 2 or 3, 4 months time, whatever, and they wouldn't be up to scratch. So that's obviously really, really positive. And like I said, just to reiterate, I'll go into the live comments now, of course. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new to the channel as well, please do subscribe. It's difficult times at the moment for everybody. You know, I can only send our best wishes from myself, from Jess, from everybody else that's involved in any Everton channel. I'm sure to speak for everybody, our best wishes to everybody that's been affected by the coronavirus, and to hope that, you know, everybody remains well and, you know, doing what they can to nullify it and to sort of minimise the spread of it, whether that's be working from home, whether that's be minimal travel as possible. If you can't work from home, then you know, we hope that everybody is remaining calm and is well and healthy at this current situation. But like I said, it's important that we preach positivity, and and it's important that we all remain as calm as possible in a situation that, quite frankly, it's really, really important it's really, really easy to not be calm and to worry and to struggle and to panic. We need to make sure that we work together, we work with each other as a society, and we don't do any of this. I'm going to rag toilet paper off an 80-year-old, I'm going to take pasta out of an 80-year-old basket. You know, we work together as a community, and we decide what's necessary and what's not necessary, and what isn't necessarily we don't purchase, or we don't panic over, or we don't pick up. Because for me personally, buying 752 toilet rolls simply isn't necessary at this moment in time. Let's get into the live comments anyway. Everton FC is the best. Says, yes, Cam, how's it going, mate? I'm not too bad. I hope you are well as everybody else. John says, hi Cam, how you feeling? I'm not too bad, mate. Everton TV says, hello everyone. Hello, mate. Everton FC is the best. Says, of course Liverpool will win the league. They've already paid, and if they don't, then the Premier League would have to refund them, and I doubt that. Again, I did say on Monday that I don't see a world in which Liverpool won't be handed the title. However, now UEFA are saying that if the remaining fixtures haven't been played by the end of June, that the season will be declared null and void, and that there'd be no champion. So again, I don't think we know quite what's going on at the moment. Ian says we need to get the Premier League back again this season because it's make football boring. I understand where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, it's not about football at the moment, is it? It's not about the Premier League. It's not about, you know, getting football. Obviously, we all want football to return as soon as possible, and we all want, you know, to be entertained, not just by football, but by other sports, boxing, cricket, golf, etc. But firstly and foremost, it's about, you know, protecting the general public, and it's about the health and well-being of the public. And until the health and the well-being of the public can be guaranteed, then no sporting event should come back whatsoever. Good says there's a possibility that even next season could be postponed due to how long they're predicting for all this panic to end. Exactly, the virus may go into what would have been the start of next season, the middle of next season, so that is a possibility. Ian says Everton's being linked with Chris Smalling of Man United in the summer. I wouldn't take him, mate. I absolutely wouldn't take him. Carl says, hello, mate. Hope you're okay. The government have closed schools and colleges. I'm not too bad, mate. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, I've just seen that, literally just announced about an hour ago. David says, why close schools? Yeah, airports stay open, shopping centres stay open. That's a really, really good point. And again, I think personally, I don't want to go too politically into it. I don't want to talk too politically, but I think our governments are completely behind on this entire situation. I think they've royally fucked it up. And again, I still think we're 2-3 weeks behind the likes of Italy, Germany, Spain, etc. Airports for me should have been the first thing that was shut down and locked down, because an airport is a place where people from all around the globe are coming in and are meeting at one given space. If you've got Liverpool Airport, you're having people from Spain, Germany, Italy, Turkey, France, all coming and meeting in one not very big area, let's be perfectly honest. If you've ever been to Liverpool Airport, if you're from Liverpool, you'll know Liverpool Airport is one terminal and it's not very big. So if you're in the vicinity of somebody that's contracted the virus, it's going to be very likely that is spread then throughout a lot of people in the airport. So for me, airports especially should have been the first things that were closed down and completely boxed off. But you know, again, for me, I don't think that'll happen until the country goes into complete lockdown, if that is the case. Hernandez says, what is your fondest Everton memory? What brought you to the club? Same question for everyone, really. Well, simply, I was brought to the club by my dad. I've always been an Evertonian. I was born an Evertonian. I've grew up an Evertonian. My dad's an Evertonian. He took me to the game since I can remember. Fondest memory. There is a lot of amazing memories. of being an Evertonian. Going to Wembley was a fantastic memory as well. Watching Everton beat Manchester United in the FA Cup semi-final, I'd probably say is my fondest memory so far as an Evertonian, or winning a derby at Goodison Park. The Andy Johnson 3-1-1 was fantastic as well. But I'd probably say beating Man United at Wembley in 2009. David says yes. Eugene says, I was watching the Liverpool vs Everton match on YouTube on Monday night. It was filmed the 1984 season when Everton won 1-0 at Anfield. Yes, the season where Graham Sharp scored the absolute worldie again. And we're talking about Everton as the football club preaching positivity and getting a positive message out there and making sure that fans are keeping positive and are keeping happy. What better way to do that than on a night where we should have been playing a Merseyside derby? We couldn't play a Merseyside derby due to a global pandemic. A lot of people, 40,000 Evertonians who usually would have been at Goodison Park celebrating the team on in hopefully happy spirits, would have been sitting at home or doing elsewhere. So what better way than to put on a Merseyside derby, where we A, won an Anfield, which we haven't done for a very long time, and B, won via an absolute worldie by Graham Sharp to allow Evertonians to sit down, watch it, and just put a smile on people's faces again. I think it's fantastic for Everton to have done that, and I hope they do that again in the coming weeks for other games as well. God says, I got into Everton because I met a friend over a game that supports Everton, and the fact that my local team is managed by the legend of the scholar of the Oxford goal, Agent Inchy Heath. Fair point, there you go. Interesting to hear everybody's stories of how you got into supporting the football club. I dare say there'll be a lot of people that are like me and sort of were born into the football club. Ewan says, did you see Richardson's video about washing his hands on YouTube? It was very funny watching it. I did. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, again, not just Everton players, but a lot of people breaching the message now of washing your hands properly, 20 seconds I believe it is, making sure that you're getting in and around all of the crevices. And Richarlison done a little one himself where he has somebody filming washing his hands and he sings his song twice, the he's Brazilian, and the whole video is just so heartwarming. It's so amazing to watch it. It just gives you a nice warm, happy feeling, and again, like I said, it's massively important that we get as many of these happy feelings as possible during this time. Hernandez says, grew up watching DC United, my local club, when Tim Howard went to United. Premier League started showing matches consistently, and that's how I came on when Howard came over. Fair point, and now you're hooked, I assume. Graham says, you have to let them have the league, mate. I'm sure we can make up a song that let them know they didn't win it. Really, come on, you Blues. David says, Jess doesn't say much, so you have to pass the message on. I've just seen it in the chat there. He says, I think the league should have frozen, no club relegated, no championships teams promoted. That would be just voided, wouldn't it? Don says, I'm eating a box of leaves to stay healthy. It tastes crap, but whatever. There you go. If it's healthy, it's healthy. David says the league will be completed behind closed doors. Again, that's something that I've seen today that I really don't see the point in doing. And I still think it's massively unsafe. For me, playing games of football behind closed doors is just not the solution whatsoever, because all you're going to get is one of, well, there's many things you're going to get really, but two of the key things you're going to get is massive crowds congregating in pubs. Let's say three things actually. Massive crowds congregating in pubs, so you've still got mass gatherings. Massive crowds congregating outside football stadiums, like we seen a couple of weeks ago with PSG in the Champions League, and massive crowds congregating in people's houses to watch the match. So it just means that fans won't be congregating in the stadium; they'll be congregating somewhere else. And for me, that's just playing the rest of the season behind closed doors is just making an excuse to finish the season and putting players' health and well-being in jeopardy, managers, coaches' health and well-being in jeopardy, and fans' health and well-being in jeopardy. It's absolutely, it just baffles me that that's even a discussion at the moment, because I just think it doesn't work whatsoever. And then there says, idea for personal YouTube channel. Cam gives his political opinion, lol. Oh, bloody hell, there you go. I don't have much of a political opinion, but maybe it's a video. If you're interested in the personal channel, by the way, it's Cameron D. Hay on YouTube. You might have to click the define bar thing to channels, because I've only uploaded a couple of videos, so it doesn't just come up, I don't think. But I've uploaded 2 videos. One of them was a Stranger Things 3 review. One of them is a video from years ago when I jumped off a building in Las Vegas. So if you want to go and check them out, check that out. It's Cameron D. Hay, D for David, on YouTube. You can search it. I'm sure the videos will come up. If you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button. That's definitely something I'm going to be looking at doing over the next couple of weeks or so while there is no football. David says that will be a rant, Hernandez. David says, yes, Jess speaks. Dodge says, can we follow your personal channel too, or are you keeping that for personal, private stuff? No, follow it, mate. Go and follow it. Like I said, a couple of videos on there. I'm definitely looking at doing a lot more on there in the coming future. Obviously, this channel will remain priority, and as long as I can get 3 videos / live emails on this channel a week, then we can do other bits on the personal channel. Go and follow it, Cameron D. Hay. Jess says, over the personal channel. There you go. Wayne says, I'm doing a DOS. How's everyone doing? I'm not too bad, mate. David says, it's a political rant channel. It's not a political rant channel. It's not. Just want to get that clear. Ewan says, we will see tomorrow morning when the Premier League meeting about the future of football. We will. Dog says, Wayne, I've missed you. Exactly, just before we end there, that is a point. The Premier League, the FA, the football authorities, whoever, whatever, will be meeting tomorrow to discuss the future of the Premier League and basically what's going to happen, whether they're going to null and void the season, whether they're going to continue it behind closed doors, which I think is absolutely disgusting, or simply whether they're going to wait until the whole situation calms down and then play the rest of the games when that does happen. So we'll see what decision they come to tomorrow. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT and Instagram MightyBluesEFC to keep up to date with all of the latest on that as well. Josh says, my earliest game I can remember was AK Athens, one back in 2007 or 2008. There you go. William says, Stranger Things, I'm guessing garbage. That show went downhill fast. It was alright. It was alright. The third series. I actually like the third series more than any of the others. But it was alright. We'll see what the fourth one brings. Eugene says, would you like to get hot mic for Everton chat? Is that the thing where people can come on and talk? I'm not too sure what it is. I'd have to look into it, but I will look into it. And David says 96p. Yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. I really want to stress how massively appreciative I am for everybody that's hitting the like, for everybody that's watching the videos, for everybody that's subscribing during this time, because I understand that there's not an awful lot for us to talk about, and it is a situation at the moment where people are going to be looking in and going, why do I want to watch him talk about useless shit? There's not much happening. So I really do appreciate all of the support, everybody that's watching, everybody that's subscribing, everybody that's hitting the like and sharing the videos and the live streams as well. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. That's going to do it from me today. Like I said, hopefully we'll be back on Friday with a FIFA video. If I can get everything set up, if I can get everything done by Friday, hopefully we'll be back with a FIFA video by then. But I'll keep you updated on that, and we'll just wait to see, I suppose, what the Premier League say and what the FA say tomorrow about the remainder of the Premier League season. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. Big thanks for watching. Please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new as well. Eugene says, see you about the Toffees. Thanks, Eugene. See you soon. Wayne says, I recommend alternate Carbon on Netflix. I'll definitely give it a watch. He also says, take care everyone, Dave. Thank you very much, Wayme. And yeah, like I said, just finally, before we end the live stream, everybody take care, look after yourselves, look after your family, look after everybody else. If you've got symptoms, follow the government guidelines, stay at home if you need to, make as little tips, as little travel as possible, and yeah, we'll just see how this one sort of progresses in the next sort of couple of days or so. Don't be getting too worried if you see a video of tanks flying down the M6. It's more than likely not going to be what you think it is. And yeah, like I said, we'll see how this one develops. But stay positive, stay happy, and stay calm, and stay healthy as well. Make sure you're continuing to follow the government guidelines. And yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.